Welcome to our channel. Today we're talking about the book Do It Today by Darius Foroux.
It's all about, conquering procrastination and actually uh, making sure that the things you're getting done,
Really matter.
yeah, making sure those things actually matter.
If you want to know all about this book without reading it,
We've come to the right place.
we have excerpts ready to go.
That's right.
So the book's title, Do It Today.
Yeah.
Pretty self-explanatory,
Is it?
right?
Yeah.
Just do it today.
It's a very in-your-face kind of title.
But it's more than just a command, like do it today, like right now.
It's a philosophy
It is a philosophy.
about approaching life.
Yes, and actually one of the most interesting things that Darius does is he talks about,
How he was a master procrastinator.
like he tells this story about how,
He used to stretch out sales calls.
right when he was a teenager,
As a teenager, just to avoid the actual work.
which I think is so relatable.
It's very relatable.
Because we all have those moments where we're like, I don't want to do this thing, so I'm going to do all these other things instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes his insight so valuable because
Yeah.
he's been there.
He gets it.
Yeah, he gets it.
He's not just like some productivity guru who's like, oh, I've always been perfect and this is how you do it.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I struggle with this too, and here's what I learned.
That's what I learned.
And the thing that he says over and over again is that
We procrastinate.
not because we're lazy.
It's deeper than that.
Yes.
We procrastinate because we're afraid of being uncomfortable, or we feel overwhelmed, or the task just seems too big.
So all these productivity hacks and all these things that people are always talking about
They won't work.
won't work if you're not addressing that root cause of why you are procrastinating.
Right.
It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation.
Right?
You can decorate it all you want, but it's going to fall apart.
Absolutely.
So instead of relying on willpower,
Which is notoriously unreliable.
yes, very unreliable.
Yeah. Fleeting.
Yes.
He advocates for building systems.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's not about that, like, pump yourself up and like, let's go kind of motivation.
Right.
He's like, no, you need systems to actually back this up.
Yeah, you need consistency. You need action.
That's so interesting because I feel like we are constantly bombarded with the message of like, just be more motivated, like just do it. And it was like,
Motivation is fleeting.
yeah.
And sometimes I feel like we need just a little something extra to get us going.
Yeah.
If you are looking for that extra push, something to kind of boost you up along the way, I recommend checking out the Affirmify Journey YouTube channel.
Got it.
They have fantastic content that will really fuel your journey.
So back to systems.
Yeah.
So one of the first things he talks about is setting self-imposed deadlines,
Yeah. Create urgency.
creating urgency.
It's so important.
Because otherwise it's so easy to just let things linger
Forever.
on your to-do list forever.
Right.
He also talks about finding an accountability partner.
Yeah, having someone to check in with is so important.
Yes, because when you know that someone is going to be like, hey, how's that thing going?
Yeah.
You're much more likely to do it.
It's like an external motivator.
Yes,
Yeah.
keeps you on track.
And then he also goes into these specific techniques like the Pomodoro technique, which is working in those focused bursts with the short breaks.
Love the Pomodoro technique.
Me too.
That's a classic.
I've tried that and it really does help.
Yeah, you break down these big tasks into these small, manageable chunks.
Yes. And you feel like you're making progress.
And you feel like you're making progress, but you're not getting burnt out.
Yes.
And he also emphasizes, taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Healthy diet.
So we're talking about mind and body
Exactly.
when it comes to productivity.
You got to fuel your body.
Fuel the machine.
Fuel the machine.
And then let's not forget about distractions.
Distract.
Like he is ruthless about eliminating distractions.
Ruthless.
Like identify those things that are pulling you away from your goals and just get rid of them.
Eliminate them.
It's like decluttering,
Yeah.
but for your mind.
For your mind.
And this leads to this really interesting question that he brings up, which is, what if you're procrastinating because you're just not passionate about the work?
That's such a good point.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in the how of productivity.
The tactics.
But if the what is off,
Yeah.
it's like no system is going to help you.
If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it.
And he's actually saying that procrastination can be a sign
Yeah.
that you are on the wrong path.
You need to reevaluate what you're really passionate about.
Yes, like it's not just about powering through.
Right.
It's about listening to those feelings of resistance and being like, why am I resisting this thing?
Why am I resisting this?
Maybe it's because I shouldn't be doing it.
Exactly.
So when it comes to practical tips, he doesn't hold back.
He does not hold back.
Like he shares some real tactical strategies that he uses himself.
It was tactical.
Like what spill the tea?
So he's really big on time logging. You need to know where your hours are going.
I tried that.
Yeah.
And it was eye-opening.
Oh, yeah.
So eye-opening.
Yeah, you got to see where your time sucks are.
So you can eliminate them.
Eliminate them.
So we have time logging,
Time log.
eliminating those time sucks.
Yes.
He also talks about a solid evening routine.
Yeah.
Like, close out your day intentionally.
Reset.
So that you can
recharge.
be ready for the next day.
Exactly.
He talks about disconnecting from the internet,
Oh, yeah.
which I think is really interesting and also very challenging.
It's a bold move.
It's very bold,
But so important.
but so important. And, he really just is encouraging us to be really intentional
Yes.
about how we're spending our time and our energy.
Be mindful.
And then he also embraces the ancient habit of using a mantra
A mantra.
to shift his mindset.
I love that.
His go-to phrase.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's so simple.
It's so simple, but just saying that to yourself, you're getting ready to tackle something.
Yeah, just to shift your mindset.
Just shift your mindset.
From, procrastination to action.
And he also talks about rest
Oh, yeah.
and strategic vacations.
So important.
So he's not like, no, you got to be grinded 24/7.
It's about working smarter, not harder.
He's saying taking time off is not a luxury.
No,
It's a necessity.
absolutely.
If you want to be truly productive,
You want to avoid burnout,
yes,
you got to take breaks.
you got to take breaks.
You got to recharge.
Because otherwise you're going to burn out and then you're going to be no good to anyone.
Exactly.
And then he also talks about continuous learning.
Lifelong learning.
Lifelong learning
It's never over.
never ends.
It doesn't stop when you graduate.
It's so true because I feel like sometimes we get in this mindset of okay, I'm done with school. I'm done with learning,
I know everything.
but the world is constantly changing
Always change.
and there's always new things to learn.
New things to learn.
So we got to stay curious.
Gotta stay curious.
And he also challenges the idea that you have to immediately apply everything that you learn.
Oh, yeah.
It's like sometimes you learn something
Yeah,
and it's not immediately relevant,
right.
but then 5 years later,
It clicks.
it's the
It's
missing piece
It's the missing puzzle piece.
to the puzzle that you're working on. So
Right.
it's like building this library
A mental library
of knowledge and experience that you can draw upon
when you need it.
whenever you need it.
And it might not be right away, but you have it there.
Right.
It's there for you.
And speaking of overcoming obstacles, he also talks about perfectionism as procrastination,
Oh, yeah.
which I found really interesting.
Perfectionism is the enemy
So how does perfectionism become procrastination?
because you're afraid to start something.
Yes.
Because it's not going to be perfect.
So you don't start at all.
You don't start at all.
Or you start and then you get so bogged down
yeah.
in the details
The details.
that you never actually finish.
Yeah. Never finish.
And he's saying perfectionism is just this sneaky way procrastinating. Yes. And he really encourages us to embrace this concept of learned resourcefulness.
Yeah. Which is a great term.
It's a great term.
It's basically building skill.
And manage stress,
Manage stress.
solve problems,
That's a problem.
and delay gratification.
Yeah.
Which is so hard in our instant gratification society.
So hard.
But it's so important.
Essential.
And then finally, he ends this first section with talking about the power of consistency.
Consistency is key.
So he's all about those small actions repeated over time
Yeah.
that lead to massive results.
It's the tortoise and the hare.
It is the tortoise and the hare.
Slow and steady wins the race.
He encourages us to just focus on making 0.1% progress each day.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
And it's 0.1.
But that's so much less intimidating
It's manageable.
than thinking about I have to make this huge transformation overnight.
Who can do that?
No one.
No one.
So yeah, that's the first part of Do It Today.
Yeah.
We have covered a lot of ground,
So much good stuff.
but there's still so much more
So much more.
to explore. So stay tuned for part 2.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're diving even deeper into Darius Foroux's Do It Today.
This time we're getting tactical.
Yeah, getting into those nitty-gritty strategies.
Those everyday productivity zappers,
Those things that we all struggle with.
like mindless browsing,
Oh, the black hole.
the black hole of the internet.
Yes, you start with a quick email check.
And then you're suddenly reading about
I don't know the history of cheese.
the history of cheese.
On Wikipedia 3 hours later.
Oh, yeah. And Darius, he says that feeling of, I was busy all day, but I didn't really do anything.
That lack of productivity.
The lack of productivity often stems from constantly trying to do too many things at once.
And getting interrupted all the time.
Yes.
Context switching.
Context switching.
It takes our brains
So much time.
way longer than we think to refocus every time we get interrupted.
So even if you're just getting distracted for a minute here, a minute there,
it adds up.
It adds up.
Yeah, that cumulative effect is huge.
And then there's the notifications.
Oh, the pings and buzzes.
Oh, my God.
Our brains love those.
Because every time we respond,
dopamine
hit.
A little hit of pleasure.
And so then we get addicted to that dopamine hit.
We do.
But the problem is it's ultimately so exhausting.
You're just chasing that hit.
You're just chasing that hit. And then you end up feeling drained even though you haven't really done anything.
Exactly.
So how do we break free from this trap?
Well, he talks about elimination.
Elimination.
Not just physical clutter, but mental clutter.
Mental clutter.
Filter that constant influx of information.
Oh, that's a good one.
Focus on what matters.
So it's like decluttering your mind.
Yeah, declutter your mind.
As well as your workspace.
Exactly. And, this also applies to our work.
Yeah.
He talks about how he almost got sucked into creating more YouTube videos.
Right, because everyone was telling him to do it.
Everyone was telling him to do it.
But he realized it was actually pulling him away from his core passions.
From what he actually wanted to be doing.
So it's about being really clear on your goals.
Yes, no sure.
And not getting swept up in what everyone else is doing.
Comparison trap.
Yes. And he actually gives a really simple tip.
Okay, I like simple tips.
Me too. He says, instead of dwelling on what's going wrong, take a moment to think about your past successes.
What a great idea.
Boost that serotonin.
Boost that serotonin.
Feel good. Chemical.
Feel good.
Improve your focus.
Improve your focus. And it's a little mental victory lap.
Yes.
Remind yourself of what you've accomplished.
Yeah.
What you're capable of.
Yeah. I love that.
Now let's talk about those habits common to unproductive people.
Oh, boy.
Darius has got a list.
I'm sure we're all guilty of a few of these.
Probably all of them, if we're being honest.
If we're being honest.
Okay, so number 1, worrying too much.
Oh, yeah.
Guilty is charged.
That's me.
Getting caught up in anxieties.
About things that may never even happen.
Things that are completely out of our control.
Borrowing trouble from the future.
Borrowing trouble from the future. That's a good one.
That's another one.
Being stubborn.
Okay.
Now, stubbornness can be a good thing.
It can be.
Yeah, it can help you stick to your vision.
Yes.
But if you're not careful, it can hurt your relationships.
It can.
Got to find that balance.
Yeah.
Another big one, not writing things down.
Oh, gosh.
Our brains are not as reliable as we think they are.
I used to think I could remember everything.
Oh, yeah, me too.
And then I realized I was wrong.
Wrong.
So Darius, he's all about externalizing those thoughts and tasks.
Yeah, get it out of your head.
Free up that mental space.
Free up that RAM.
A brain RAM. And then this one, he doesn't mince words on this one.
No, he does not.
Neglecting your personal education.
He says, and I quote, "People who don't invest in their own learning, Dio, suck."
He said that.
He said it.
Wow. Okay, so no pressure.
But seriously, we got to keep learning.
We got to keep learning.
The world is changing so fast.
We can't afford to get complacent.
Complacency is the enemy.
So we need to be lifelong learners.
Lifelong learners.
Constantly expanding our knowledge and our skills.
Yes, and it's not about, becoming an expert.
Right.
It's about the journey.
The journey of learning.
The journey of learning.
And then amidst all this focus on productivity, he reminds us to be kind to ourselves.
Yes. Self-compassion is so important.
And celebrate those small wins.
Celebrate those small wins.
Because even getting out of bed in the morning.
That's a win.
It's a win.
Some days it feels like the biggest win.
Right.
But it's a win nonetheless.
Oh, so it's about shifting our perspective.
Yes.
Finding gratitude for those things that we often take for granted.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite parts of the book is his 30-minute evening ritual.
Oh, yes. He breaks it down.
It's so good.
3 10-minute segments.
3 10-minute segments.
10 minutes to close out the day.
Close out the day.
Reflect on what you accomplished, what you learned, anything worth remembering.
It's like a mini debrief.
Yes.
To assess your progress.
Assess your progress.
And he actually quotes Jim Rohn.
Oh, I love Jim Rohn.
Who said, "At the end of each day, you should play back the tapes of your performance. The results should either applaud you or prod you."
It's about accountability.
Yes.
Recognizing your successes, but also those areas where you can improve.
So that's the first 10 minutes.
First 10 minutes, close out the day.
And we move on to the second 10 minutes.
Second 10 minutes, review tomorrow's calendar.
Review tomorrow's calendar.
Proactive planning.
Proactive planning.
See what's coming.
Yeah. Meetings, deadlines, important tasks.
So that you wake up feeling prepared and focused.
You know what you got to do.
You know what you got to do, and you're not hit with that like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Where did the day go?
What am I doing today?
What am I doing?
What's the plan?
Yeah, you're not starting your day in that reactive mode.
Right, you're starting it from a place of like...
intention, yes. And then the final 10 minutes.
Visualization. Visualization.
Highly productive people.
They visualize their days.
With incredible detail.
So they're creating a mental roadmap for success.
Yes.
Imagining themselves successfully navigating those tasks and challenges.
And he suggests doing this in the evening so that those visualizations are fresh in your mind when you wake up.
And he even said that it helped him overcome his snooze button addiction.
The snooze button.
That's how powerful this is.
Yeah, the power of the mind.
The power of the mind.
Now let's talk about disconnecting from the internet.
This is a big one.
This is a big one.
In our hyper-connected world.
It's hard.
It's so hard.
But it's so important for regaining control of our attention.
It's so important. And he's not saying become a hermit.
Right.
And never go online again.
No.
He's just saying create designated periods of time where you intentionally disconnect.
From the digital world.
From the digital world.
It's about setting those boundaries.
Boundaries are so important. So important. And remembering that the internet is a tool.
It's a tool.
It can be used for good or for ill.
We get to decide.
We have the power.
Now, we've talked about external distractions.
Yes.
But what about internal distractions?
No, those are the worst.
And Darius actually suggests that procrastination can be a sign that you are on the wrong path when it comes to your work.
It's such a powerful idea.
It's powerful.
He's saying those feelings of resistance might be trying to tell us something important.
So instead of just powering through,
just ignoring those feelings,
we should pay attention to when we're constantly putting things off.
Why am I resisting this?
Why am I resisting this? Maybe it's because I shouldn't be doing it.
Maybe it's time for a change.
Maybe it's time for a change. And he also talks about embracing an ancient habit to maximize focus.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Using a mantra.
A mantra.
Like a personal affirmation.
Yes, he believes in the power of language to shift your mindset.
So it's like giving yourself a pep talk.
Yeah, a little boost.
And what's his mantra?
It's so simple.
Okay.
Let's go.
Let's go.
That's it.
That's it.
It's about creating that momentum.
That forward momentum.
Moving forward.
And he said that repeating this mantra helps him overcome those moments of fear or resistance.
It's a quick reset.
Yeah.
Get back on track.
I love that. I'm going to try that.
Try it. Let's go.
Let's go write a book.
Let's go record this podcast.
Let's go clean the kitchen.
Okay, maybe not that one.
Maybe not that one.
But you get the idea.
You get the idea.
Okay, so now let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Smartphones.
Smartphones.
He says they are harming our productivity more than we realize.
I think that's something that we all kind of know intuitively.
We know it, but we don't want to admit it.
We don't want to admit it.
We're so attached to these devices.
We are.
But we need to examine their impact on our focus and well-being.
We do. And he doesn't hold back.
No, he does not. He shares some startling statistics.
Like, well, for example, did you know that a significant percentage of people rate their smartphones as more or equally important as their close friends and even parents?
Wow. That's a little scary.
It is a little bit scary.
It's like our phones are becoming extensions of ourselves.
They are.
But at what cost?
At what cost to our relationships, our mental health, our productivity?
So he's not just, pointing fingers and being like, smartphones are bad.
No, he acknowledges that he struggles with this too.
So what is he doing differently?
Well, for one, he's turned off all non-essential notifications.
Okay.
He only checks his phone at designated times.
Designated times.
Instead of constantly reacting to every ping and buzz.
So it's about taking back control.
Yes, being intentional.
Setting boundaries with your phone.
With your phone.
Which can be so hard.
It is hard.
Because it's so easy to just be like, oh, I'll just check this one thing.
And then you're down the rabbit hole.
And then you're down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But he's saying like, no, you have to be the one in control.
You're the boss of your phone.
Your phone is a tool.
It's a tool, not the other way around.
Which leads us to another sneaky productivity zapper.
Oh, tell me more.
Perfectionism.
Perfectionism.
He says it can actually be a form of procrastination.
How does that work?
Well, he says that the fear of not being good enough can actually paralyze us.
You're afraid to start.
You're afraid to start.
Because it's not going to be perfect.
So you end up doing nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
And he points out that there are two main types of perfectionists.
Okay.
There are those who never start.
Because they're so afraid of failure.
And then there are those who start.
But they set such high standards.
That they're constantly failing themselves.
It's a no-win situation.
It's a no-win situation.
And it leads to so much anxiety and worry and even depression.
So what's the antidote?
He suggests cultivating something called learned resourcefulness.
Okay, break that down for me.
It's about building those skills to manage your emotional responses to stress, to solve problems effectively, and to delay gratification for greater rewards.
So it's about developing resilience.
Yes.
Adaptability.
Adaptability.
And self-control.
Self-control.
Which are all essential skills for anyone who wants to be productive and successful.
Absolutely essential.
Now, Darius is a big advocate for reading.
He's a bookworm.
He is a bookworm.
He reads like 100 books a year.
100 books a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot of books.
It is a lot of books.
But he emphasizes it's not about speed reading or just checking books off a list.
Right.
It's about immersing yourself in knowledge.
And gaining insights.
From other people's experiences.
From brilliant minds.
From brilliant minds.
Who've come before us.
So he doesn't just want us to, like, read the words on the page.
No, he wants us to engage with the material.
Engage.
Think critically.
Think critically.
Apply those lessons to our own lives.
And he doesn't shy away from calling out those who neglect their personal education.
He doesn't. He says they.
You suck.
He said it again.
He said it again.
So no pressure.
But seriously, we got to keep learning.
Got to keep learning.
The world is changing so fast,
Well,
we can't afford to get complacent.
complacency is the enemy.
So we need to be lifelong learners.
Lifelong learners.
Constantly expanding our knowledge and skills.
Absolutely. And it's not about, becoming an expert. It's about the journey.
The journey of learning.
The journey of learning. And I think that's a really beautiful way to look at it.
It is.
It's not about the destination.
It's about the journey.
It's about the process of constantly seeking out new knowledge and new experiences.
So, okay, I want to be a better reader.
Yeah.
But 100 books a year.
It's intimidating.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Any tips?
Well, he suggests creating a book inventory.
Okay.
Keep track of what you've read and what you want to read.
Okay.
And he also encourages us to adopt the always be reading motto. Always be reading.
Find those pockets of time throughout your day.
On the train while you're waiting for an appointment.
In the bathroom.
Maybe not the bathroom.
Okay, maybe not the bathroom.
But, you get the idea.
You get the idea.
Make reading a habit.
Make it a habit.
Just like brushing your teeth or exercising.
And he also emphasizes taking notes.
Yes.
Highlighting key passages.
Yeah.
So that you're really engaging with the material.
Actively reading.
Actively reading.
Not just passively consuming words.
And before you even dive into a book.
Yes.
He recommends skimming it first.
Get a sense of the content and structure.
So you can focus on those parts that are most relevant to you.
Exactly. Be strategic with your reading time.
Be strategic.
Now let's talk about something that often feels like the opposite of productivity.
Okay, what's that?
Taking vacations.
Vacations.
Darius makes a compelling case for why vacations actually boost productivity and reduce stress.
I know that seems counterintuitive.
It does.
Because we often feel like we can't afford to take time off.
Yeah, we're so busy.
But he's saying that taking time to rest and recharge
It's essential.
is essential for our well-being.
It is.
And for our performance.
It is. He even shares research showing that vacations can decrease perceived job stress and burnout.
So it's not just about feeling better.
No.
It's about working smarter.
Working smarter, not harder.
He says that having fewer days to work can actually create a sense of urgency.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you're more focused.
You prioritize those essential tasks.
So it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder.
But for work.
But for work.
I like that.
But he does caution that stressful vacations can negate those positive benefits.
Right.
So it's about finding that sweet spot.
Where you're truly relaxing and recharging.
Not just adding more stress.
Not just packing your vacation full of activities.
Right.
You need downtime.
Downtime is essential.
Essential. And, even if you can't afford a big, fancy vacation.
What if you can't afford to travel?
He suggests having a staycation.
A staycation.
Right.
Just stay home.
Just stay home.
Unplug.
Unplug.
Recharge. The principles of rest and rejuvenation still apply.
They do.
So it's about making a conscious choice to prioritize your well-being no matter your circumstances.
And that's really what this book is all about. It's about being intentional with your time, with your energy, with your life.
It's about taking control.
Taking control.
And creating the life that you want.
That you want, not the life that you think you should have or the life that everyone else is living.
Right. It's about defining success on your own terms.
Exactly, on your own terms.
Okay, so let's move on to time blocking.
Ooh, time blocking, one of my favorite productivity techniques.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so it's about Using your calendar proactively.
Proactively.
Blocking out specific times for those important tasks and activities.
So instead of just letting your day run,
yeah,
you're taking control of your schedule.
You are the master of your schedule.
I like that.
And he stresses the importance of letting your calendar lead the way.
So you're not constantly trying to decide what to do next.
You just look at your calendar and it tells you what to do.
That eliminates so much decision fatigue.
So much decision fatigue.
Because it's like our brains are constantly making decisions all day long.
All day long.
And so if you can eliminate some of those decisions by just having a plan.
Yeah, it frees up so much mental energy.
And he actually shares his own experience with time blocking.
Yeah.
Talking about how it's helped him stay on track with his goals.
Like writing his new book.
So this is something that even highly productive people can benefit from.
Absolutely, even if you think you're organized.
Time blocking can take it to the next level.
To the next level.
But he does acknowledge that some people love time blocking and some people hate it.
It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone.
But he encourages readers to experiment with it.
See if it works for you.
See if it works for you.
And he also talks about the importance of a consistent morning routine.
The morning routine.
Essential for starting your day off.
Right? It sets the tone for the day.
It sets the tone.
And he emphasizes that it doesn't have to be complicated.
It doesn't.
It can be as simple as waking up at the same time each day.
Okay.
Having a healthy breakfast.
Yeah.
Spending a few minutes meditating or reading.
Okay.
The key is consistency.
Consistency.
Doing the same things each day.
To create that sense of rhythm and flow.
Exactly. And it signals to your brain that it's time to wake up and get to work.
Signals to your brain.
Signals to your brain.
Now, Darius also shares a personal anecdote about what happened when he stopped working out daily.
Oh, yeah.
He's not afraid to be vulnerable.
No, he's very open about his own struggles.
And he talks about how he had to cut back on exercise due to other commitments.
Yeah, life happens.
Life happens.
But he ultimately realized it was a mistake.
So he was like, no, I need to make this a priority.
He noticed a decline in his energy levels.
Okay.
His productivity suffered.
Wow.
He even found himself engaging in unhealthy habits like watching mindless TV.
It was affecting all areas of his life.
It was affecting everything.
So it's a reminder that our physical and mental well-being are interconnected.
They're all connected.
We can't neglect one without affecting the other.
Absolutely.
So he emphasizes finding a fitness goal that's right for you.
Yes.
One that challenges you physically.
But is also sustainable.
Sustainable.
You don't want to burn yourself out.
Right.
Find something that you enjoy that you can stick with.
Something that you can do consistently.
Consistently. There's that word again.
And he highlights the benefits of regular exercise.
Increased energy.
Increased energy.
Improved focus.
Improved focus.
Better sleep.
Better sleep.
Reduced stress.
Reduced stress.
Overall well-being.
It's an investment in our productivity.
It is an investment.
Now I'm curious about how Darius measures success in his own life.
Oh, yeah. He challenges those conventional metrics.
Like income.
Yeah, status.
Possession.
All those external markers of success.
He's looking at a bigger picture.
He argues that true fulfillment comes from focusing on energy work and relationships.
So it's a more holistic approach.
A more holistic approach, recognizing that success is multifaceted.
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 It's not just about one thing.
So tell me about these three elements.
Okay, so energy. He emphasizes the importance of cultivating high energy levels.
Okay, high energy.
Finding work that's meaningful and challenging.
Meaningful and challenging.
And relationships nurturing strong and supportive relationships.
Strong relationships.
It's about having those deep connections with people who matter to you.
It's not about the number of followers you have on social media.
No, it's about quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity.
And he talks about how these three elements are interconnected.
Oh, how so?
Well, high energy fuels good work.
Makes sense.
Which in turn strengthens relationships.
It's a beautiful cycle.
A virtuous cycle.
Yeah, I love that.
And he gives tips for each element.
Like what?
Well, for energy, he talks about daily exercise.
Okay.
Healthy diet.
Okay.
Getting enough sleep.
Okay.
It's about making those small, consistent choices.
Here's that word again. That contribute to your overall well-being.
And what about work?
For work, he emphasizes continuous learning.
Continuous learning.
Always seeking out new knowledge and challenges.
So education never ends.
It never ends.
And he believes that income is often a byproduct of that ongoing growth and development.
It's about becoming more valuable to the world.
Through constant learning and skill development.
Yeah, he also talks about the importance of contributing value.
Contributing value.
Solving problems.
Solving problems.
Making a positive impact.
Making a positive impact.
It's about finding that sweet spot where your skills and passions intersect with the needs of the world.
And then for relationships, he highlights the importance of quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity.
It's about those deep, meaningful connections.
Not the number of Facebook friends you have.
So true.
He encourages us to nurture those close relationships.
Invest time and energy.
Invest time and energy in the people who truly matter.
It's a reminder that true wealth lies in the depth of our connections.
Not the size of our bank accounts.
Not the size of our bank account.
And you know what's really powerful about this framework?
Right.
Is that it's accessible to everyone.
Yeah.
You don't have to be rich or famous or have a fancy job title to cultivate high energy.
To do meaningful work.
To have strong relationships.
And to feel fulfilled.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about productivity.
We have.
But Darius also spends a lot of time talking about the importance of rest and recovery.
Yes, we need to recharge.
Recharge!
He actually advocates for taking at least one day off per week.
One full day.
One full day where you completely disconnect from work.
No emails.
No emails.
No checking your phone.
No checking your phone.
No thinking about work.
No thinking about work.
It's a day to rest.
Rest.
Recharge.
Recharge.
And reconnect with yourself and the things that you love.
And he's not just saying this because it's nice to have a day off.
He's saying it's essential for our productivity.
It is. He says that when we take time to rest,
we actually come back to our work.
More focused.
Well, focused.
More creative.
More creative.
And more productive.
More productive.
So it's not a luxury.
It's an investment.
It's an investment in our well-being and our success.
And he also talks about the importance of taking vacations.
Vacations.
Not just like a day off here and there.
Extended periods of time away from work.
So that we can truly disconnect.
And truly disconnect and recharge.
And he says that vacations don't have to be expensive.
No.
They don't have to be these elaborate trips.
They can be staycations.
Staycation.
They can be weekend getaways.
Weekend getaways.
The important thing is to create that space.
Space.
To step away from your everyday life.
And to reconnect with yourself.
And to reconnect with the things that bring you joy.
And he also talks about the importance of sleep.
Oh, sleep is so important.
Sleep is so underrated.
It is. We often sacrifice sleep.
In the name of productivity.
In the name of productivity.
But he's saying that's a mistake.
It's a huge mistake.
Because when we're sleep deprived,
our cognitive function suffers.
Our decision-making suffers.
Our mood suffers.
Our mood suffers.
Our energy levels plummet.
Our energy levels plummet.
It affects everything.
It affects everything.
So he encourages us to make sleep a priority.
Make sleep a priority.
Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night.
7 to 9 hours.
Create a relaxing bedtime routine.
Relaxing bedtime routine.
Avoid screens before bed.
Avoid screens before bed.
Make sure your bedroom is dark, cool, and quiet.
Dark, cool, and quiet.
These are all essential for getting a good night's rest.
And he also talks about the importance of mindfulness.
Mindfulness.
Which is basically about being present in the moment.
Yes.
Paying attention to your thoughts.
Your feeling.
Your sensation.
Without judgment.
And he says that mindfulness can help us to
reduce stress.
Improve focus.
Improve focus.
And increase our overall well-being. Overall well-being.
And there are so many different ways to practice mindfulness.
There are.
Like meditation.
Meditation.
Yoga.
Spending time in nature.
Spending time in nature.
Just taking a few deep breaths.
Just taking a few deep breaths.
The key is to find what works for you.
Find what works for you and make it a regular part of your routine.
And he also emphasizes the importance of self-care.
Self-care.
Which is basically about taking care of your physical,
emotional,
and mental well-being.
Yes.
And he says that self-care is not selfish.
It's not selfish.
It's essential.
It's essential for our well-being and our ability to show up fully in the world.
And self-care can look different for everyone.
It can.
It's not enough to just think positive thoughts. You know, we have to actually take action.
We got to walk the walk.
Walk the walk.
He reminds us that nothing is impossible if we truly believe it to be true.
And we're willing to put in the work.
Put in the work.
It's a call to action.
A challenge to step into our power.
Create the lives we desire.
And he also, kind of challenges that conventional wisdom that we have to compete in order to succeed.
He does. He's really advocating for collaboration over competition.
Yeah, he says that scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
That's so prevalent in our society.
That dog-eat-dog mentality.
Yeah, it's really limiting.
It creates fear and insecurity.
It does, and he encourages us to embrace an abundance mindset.
An abundance mindset.
Recognizing that there are enough opportunities and resources for everyone.
So it's about shifting our perspective from competition to creation.
Yes. Focus on what you can bring to the world.
Rather than what you can take from others.
Exactly.
And he encourages us to be innovative.
Find those unmet needs.
Create solutions that benefit both ourselves and others.
And he challenges the idea that we have to fit into these pre-existing career paths.
Yes. He's encouraging us to be trailblazers.
Create our own paths.
Create our own paths.
He uses the example of the chief happiness officer.
Oh, yeah.
A relatively new role that's gaining traction in some organizations.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we don't have to be limited by these traditional job titles.
Or industry norms.
He
encourages us to identify our unique skills and passions.
And combine them in a way that adds value to the world.
Create a career that feels meaningful and fulfilling.
And he says, ignore the naysayers.
Ignore the naysayers.
Those people who tell you your ideas are impossible.
Or that you're wasting your time.
Yeah. He says those people are usually the ones who are afraid to try themselves.
They're projecting their own fears onto you.
Exactly.
So stay true to your vision.
Even in the face of doubt and resistance.
Because the greatest innovations and achievements often come from those who dare to think differently.
Those who refuse to be limited by conventional wisdom.
So be bold.
Be courageous.
Create the change you want to see in the world.
And he also talks about the importance of staying a beginner.
Staying a beginner.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
It means approaching life with a sense of humility.
Humility.
Recognizing that there's always more to learn no matter how much you already know.
So it's the opposite of that know-it-all attitude.
It is.
It's about being open to new ideas and perspectives.
Even if they challenge our existing beliefs.
So we should always be learning.
Always be learning.
Always be growing.
Always be growing.
And he reminds us that true mastery is an ongoing journey.
Not a destination.
So it's not about reaching some endpoint.
No.
It's about the process of continual learning and improvement.
And you know, one of the key takeaways from Do It Today is that productivity is not just about getting things done.
It's about getting the right things done.
The things that matter.
The things that are aligned with our value,
our goals,
and our aspirations.
It's about living a life that is both productive and meaningful.
And it's about recognizing that we have the power to create that life.
One small step at a time.
One small step at a time.
So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed,
or just looking for some inspiration,
Do It Today is a must-read.
It's a reminder that we all have the potential to achieve great things.
But it starts with taking action today.
Not tomorrow.
Not next week.
Not someday.
No.
Do It Today by Darius Foroux.
A powerful guide to living a more productive and meaningful life.
And speaking of taking action, if you're looking for some extra resources to support you on your journey, be sure to check out lingopediamagazine.com.
It's a fantastic hub for courses and ebooks on a wide range of topics.
And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to subscribe, share, and like this podcast. We'll be back soon with more insightful content to help you navigate your world with more knowledge and clarity.